Hey, in today's lesson, I am going to teach you how to finally think and speak in English. I'm going to explain the connection and give you a simple formula that will help you finally start speaking like a native English speaker. Are you ready? Well then, I am Teacher Aria. Let's jump right in. Alright, so, the first thing you have to understand is the 5 W's method. That's right. We must first start off by thinking in English using the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why. So let's say we're talking about our daily life and we're going to start with our morning routine. Look at this man. He's working out hard, but we want to describe what he's doing like a native English speaker. So we must think in English. Who is he? His name is Mike. He's 50 years old. What is Mike doing? Mike is working out hard. When? At 6 a.m. every morning. Where? At a large gym, not too far from his house. And why? He learned the importance of discipline from working on a farm and the importance of staying in shape from his military background. So again, what have we done? We have thought in English. We saw what was happening. This man was building muscles, and he does it every morning. This is his morning routine, and we used the 5 W's. Now, how do we speak in English about his morning routine? Once again, we have the 5 W's here. Who, what, when, where, and why, which will lead us to speaking about his morning routine. Watch this. Read along with me. I am 50 years old, but I still work out hard at 6 a.m. every morning. I usually exercise at a large gym not too far from my house. People always say my consistency is impressive. Honestly, I learned the importance of discipline from working on a farm and the importance of staying in shape from my time in the military. You see what just happened, right? Using the 5 W's, we thought about his morning routine, and then we were able to speak, think, and then speak. Now, I want to break down some of the vocabulary words within this speaking portion, but I want to remind you to use the 5 W's to talk about your own morning routine. Now, I see a word in here that maybe you don't know. The first word is consistency. Good. After me again, consistency. Excellent. Now, the word consistency just means the quality of always behaving or performing in a similar way, or of always happening in a similar way. So let me explain something to you really quickly about this word. Remember who I am. Your English teacher, right? So every Sunday, I make it a point to upload an English lesson, Sundays at 8 a.m. Eastern, right? I want to do it on a regular basis. My behavior, my pattern is uploading English lessons for you on Sundays. So I am trying to practice consistency. Makes sense, right? You got it. All right, so consistency. Now, let's go back again and look at what was said. The next word was impressive. So after me, impressive. Excellent. Again, impressive. Good job. Now this word impressive is also very important. If an object or achievement is impressive, you admire or respect it, usually because it is special, important, or very large. For example, when I think about you as a student, as an English learner learning a second language, or for many of you, a third or fourth language, English is not your mother tongue. I am impressed. Your abilities are impressive. Why? You are learning another language. You are so intelligent. That's an achievement. You are very impressive. Makes sense, right? So again, we said that Mike's morning routine is impressive. All right, now there's another word that I want us to look at very quickly. The other word was discipline. Again, after me. Discipline. Excellent. Now, what does the word discipline actually mean? It's the ability to control yourself or other people, even in difficult situations. So maybe your favorite dessert is ice cream. When you see the ice cream, you want to eat it all, but you're on a diet. You're trying to lose weight, so you have to be disciplined. You have to control yourself from eating all of the ice cream. Makes sense, right? In English, we say discipline. Are you a very disciplined person? Let us know in the comments section. All right, so we have discipline. Now, once again, looking at what was said to describe his morning routine, we have all of the information. And we're able to speak about his morning routine because we first thought about it using the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why. Now, before we move to the afternoon routine, I want you in the comments section to write about your personal morning routine. Now remember again, using the thought section, thinking in English, you must first say who, what, when, where, and why. So let us know about your morning routine in the comment section. All right, here we go. Let's move on to the afternoon routine. Again, you're going to notice this pattern. Think, speak, think, speak. Think using the 5 W's, and then you'll be able to speak fluently in English. Here we go. Afternoon routine. Let's look at this afternoon routine. Maybe you're at work, and you have to have lots of meetings with your coworkers. So, who? My team members and I, we are web designers. What? Go to a team meeting in the afternoon. When? Around 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Where? In the big conference room down the hall from my office. Why? To discuss how we will create all of the images, layouts, and videos for a new corporate website. So once again, what did we do? We thought about the afternoon routine: who, what, when, where, and why. We are organizing our thoughts about this period of time. You can do it for any situation. Now we've thought about it again. We have the 5 W's very clearly broken down for the afternoon routine. So, how would we now speak about the afternoon routine? Here we go. This is how we would say all of that information. I am a web designer, and I work with a great team. Almost every day we have a team meeting at around 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Our team meetings are in the big conference room down the hall from my office. We need to discuss how we will create all of the images, layouts, and videos for a new corporate website. I explained why. So, because we thought about our afternoon routine using the 5 W's, we were able to speak fluently in English about our afternoon routines. Again, think and speak. Simple formula. Use the 5 W's, and bam! You'll start sounding like a native English speaker. Now, within our answer, there are about 3 things that I want to explain to you. So here we go. I want to explain the first one. The first one is at around. Let me take this off the screen very quickly. At around means near or close to approximately, and it usually refers to a numerical value or point in time. For example, let's say you're going to have a party, right? So you're going to have a party, and you say, "Hey guys, my party starts at 3 p.m." Everyone's like, "Okay, I'll be there." But then one of your friends says, "Oh my goodness, I have to work that day, and I get off at 3 p.m., but I'll rush there, and I think I can get there at around 3:45. It means approximately. I'm going to try to get there at that time. In English, we use at around. So again, look at how we used it in this situation. We said, we have a team meeting at around 2 p.m., meaning approximately. Makes sense, right? Okay, now what about down the hall from? I said, down the hall from. Now, this is also something we use on a regular basis. Down the hall from specifies a location along the hall. Like, if you're in a building, there's a hallway. So down the hall from means you're talking about a certain place along the hallway. It means further along the hall from a specific location. I'm in this spot, but it's further down from me. It's down the hall from. So my office is down the hall from my boss's office. The bathroom is down the hall from the conference room. You see what's happening, right? You're telling where something is in relation to something else. In English, we say, down the hall from. So in this example, speaking about his afternoon routine or her afternoon routine, we said, our meetings are in the big conference room down the hall from my office. Makes sense, right? Okay, now there was one more that I wanted to explain. It was corporate. Now again, after me for pronunciation, corporate. Excellent. Now we saw how we use this. We said in the last sentence, we need to discuss how we will create all of the images, layouts, and videos for a new corporate website. All right, so what does corporate mean? Corporate actually means relating to a large company. So think about Apple. I love Apple computers. I love Apple products. Apple is a huge company. The main office could be referred to as the corporate office or the headquarters. So, corporate just refers to a large company. So, when we explained the afternoon routine, we said they meet to discuss what they're going to do for the large company website or the corporate website. Makes sense, right? So now we understand corporate. So again, we were able to speak about the afternoon routine like a native English speaker, very fluently, simply because we first thought about it in English. One more time. Who, what, when, where, and why. All of these pieces of information were included in our response when we spoke about the afternoon routine. So what about the evening routine? All right, here we go. Evening routine. Maybe you enjoy hanging out with your friends. So we have to start with, again, the who. My closest friends and I, they're my elementary school friends. What? We go out to eat. When? Every Thursday at 7 p.m. Where? Popular restaurants in our area. Why? We are all foodies and we enjoy spending time with each other after work. Now, I want to pause really quickly and emphasize something again. This phase, this step, this stage is very simple. It doesn't matter what level you are in English. You can think of who you are with, what you did, very simply, where you were, why, and when. Again, the thinking portion is simple, breaking it down using the 5 W's, right? Now we have everything that you do in the evening with your friends, having a great time. Now we need to speak in English about your evening routine. So here we go. Evening routine using all of the information we gathered from the 5 Ws. My closest friends and I have known each other since elementary school. Usually, we try to hang out every Thursday at 7 p.m. We go out to eat at popular restaurants in our area because we are all foodies. But more importantly, we truly enjoy spending time with each other after work. Now, you know how natural that sounded, right? But look, I just used the 5 Ws, and you can do the same thing to sound like a native English speaker. Now, there are a few words and expressions that I'd like to go over with you. The first one is hang out. After me, hang out. Excellent. Now, let me explain what hang out actually means. Here we go. It means to spend time relaxing or socializing informally, or to spend a lot of time in a place or with someone. Hey, spend time with your friends at a restaurant. I used to enjoy cooking for my friends when I lived in South Korea. I loved it. And I would invite them over and we would hang out, spend time together. So, in the comments section, I want you to tell us. Where do you like to hang out? Do you like to hang out at the mall, at your friend's house? Maybe you like to go to a cafe? Where do you like to hang out? Let us know in the chat section. All right, so we say hang out in English. So again, looking at it, what do we see? My closest friends and I usually try to hang out every Thursday at 7 p.m. Now, I want us to look at the next one. Go out to eat. You may have heard this one, or you may not have. This just means, again, to eat at a restaurant or away from one's home. So, I mentioned earlier that I love cooking, but sometimes it's nice to go to a restaurant to let somebody else cook for me, to let somebody else cook for myself and my friends. So, we go out. We're not inside. We go out to eat. Let us know in the chat section. Where do you like to go out to eat? Maybe in your country, there are some amazing restaurants. Where do you like to go out to eat? I love going to Indian restaurants. As you all know, I love Indian food and Mexican food as well. So, we say, go out to eat in English. And again, we said, go out to eat at popular restaurants. Now, the last one I want to explain is a popular one. Foodie. You got it. F sound, front teeth, bottom lip. After me, foodie. Excellent. All right. Now let me explain what a foodie is. A foodie is a person with a particular interest in food, or a person who loves food and is very interested in different types of food. Yes, I consider myself to be a foodie. I love so many different types of food. I love Indian, I love Haitian, I love Mexican, I love Mediterranean because the food is delicious. So, I consider myself to be a foodie because I'm so interested in food. Maybe you're a foodie as well. All right, so we say foodie in English. And we explained that my friends and I are foodies. Makes sense, right? Okay, so again, what we did was, we were able to explain, talk about, and speak English fluently about my, or your, or their evening routine, simply because we first thought about it in English. Who, what, when, where, and why. And then we were able to give the response like a native English speaker. Now, honestly, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope you put this into practice. You can do it. I want to encourage you. All you have to do is think in English like a native English speaker using the 5 Ws. and then you'll be able to speak like a native English speaker. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to help you, teach you, and guide you along your way. You'll find more courses on pronunciation and many other things to help you along your English journey. All right, I'll see you next week. But as always, remember to speak English. You still there? Ha ha, I know you are. And you know what time it is. Come on and join me. It's story time. Hey, I said it's story time. All right, today's story is about food. That's right. I explained earlier in the lesson that I am a foodie. I love food, and I have a friend who is also a foodie, and we actually became close friends because of that. So, let me explain what happened. So, I had been in Korea for about 8 years, and I came home just for a short break. I was going to go back to South Korea to finish my last year and a half there. Now, when I was going back, I was told by the office, like the head office, that they were going to place me at a new school, a school I had never been to. So I was a bit apprehensive because I didn't know anyone there, and all of my roots, my Korean family members, lived in Seoul. For those that know about Seoul, it's the major city in Korea, and they wanted to move me to the outskirts of the city. Look up the word outskirts. On the outside, kind of like the suburbs, but a very quiet area. And I said, you know what? It's okay. I prayed about it and decided to go. So, when I got there, there were only, I think, 3 or 4 other Korean teachers, and I think 2 or 3 other foreign teachers, like Americans or native English speakers. It was a very small school. I left a school that had 10 and another school that had 20. So this was a very small school. And in the school, among the Korean teachers, there was one teacher, and I'll say her name, Annie. She may watch this video. Her name was Annie, and she seemed really nice. She seemed very organized, and she also seemed to be a very good teacher, just from observing her when I first got there. And I was like, okay, yeah, she seems basically about business. And I am a person that is about business. I take my job seriously, and she seemed to be that type of person as well. So anyways, Annie approached me one day and said, Aria, would you mind teaching me the Bible? Now, we had known each other for maybe a month. We weren't close, but we saw each other every day at work, and she recognized that I enjoyed teaching the Bible to my students. So I said, sure, no worries. She knew I spoke Korean, and she also spoke English well, but she said, hey, I think it'll be nice to study the Bible with you in English, and if I have questions, I can ask you in Korean. Sure, no problem. So we started studying the Bible. We had a great time. She loves God, I love God, and we had great conversations. So we had been studying with each other for maybe about 2 or 3 weeks. And again, I noticed that she was a very hard worker. I admired her work ethic, but that was the extent. We didn't do anything after work. We just saw each other at work. Very cordial, very nice to each other. So, one day Annie approached me when we were in the staff room and said, hey, Aria, do you want to go out to eat for lunch? And I was like, okay, sure. I was new to the area. Again, I'm a foodie, but she and I had never talked about food. She said, do you want to go out to lunch? I said, sure. She said, yeah, there's an Indian restaurant not too far from here. Now remember, I told you my favorite food is Indian. So inside I said, "Oh yeah." But outside I said, "Oh, that sounds nice." Now, Annie knows me very well now, so my responses are a lot different, but, I didn't know her that well, and I said, "Oh, okay, that's nice, let's go." I was excited. So anyways, the next day, we decided, and we went to the restaurant. So we get to the restaurant, and again, we're just talking. Great conversation. It was really easy to talk to her. We had great conversation, and we talked about life, my experiences, her experiences. And then the food came. Now, when the food came, remember, I am a foodie. I love Indian food. So I know what Indian food is good and what Indian food is not good. So the plates arrived, and there was steam coming up from the curry. Then I saw the naan, and I was getting excited because my nose was happy. I could smell that the seasonings were correct, right? But again, I was still talking to Annie, and we were just talking. So the food came, we prayed over the food. We, kind of wiped our hands off, and I took a piece of the naan, and I dipped it into the curry. And when I put it to my mouth, I said, it was good, and I was kind of enjoying it. In that moment, I heard Annie do the same thing, like, this food is good. Now again, a lot of the conversation was happening in Korean because we switched over when we were at the restaurant. So I looked up and said, "This food is good, isn't it?" She said, "Whoa, yes, this food is good." And I realized, oh my goodness, she's a foodie too. Needless to say, fast forward. Wow, has it been 4 years? 4 years. And she's one of my closest friends. We enjoyed that meal, and she realized how much I love food. We just talked about, oh my goodness, the seasoning. The naan is good, the curry is good, this is good. And we realized how much we love food. So the next week, we went out to lunch again, and the following week, we went out to lunch again. We kept going to different restaurants. We would make plans to go and travel. We would go 45 minutes in the middle of the day to get some delicious food and rush back to work for the afternoon. We loved food and bonded over food, of course, our love for God as well. But she became one of my closest friends, and we are still close to this day, all because we found out that we both were foodies. Now again, guys, you all know how much I enjoy food. I want to know, are you a foodie? If you are, what's your favorite food? Put it in the comment section. Annie, if you're watching, I can't wait until this pandemic is over so we can eat some more good food. Annie, you can come on and visit me in America. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Remember to think and speak in English. I'll talk to you next week. I love you, and don't forget to speak English.